entrepreneur is simply someone who undertakes something. But before you can undertake something in the physical world, you need to be able to undertake it in the mental world. That's why the most important conversation when you're talking about entrepreneurship, it's a conversation of the mind. You won't be successful until you succeed in your mind. This is the reason why King Solomon writes in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. And I want you to read from the GNT, the Good News Translation. This is what Solomon says. He says, be careful how you think. Be careful how you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts. Be careful how you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts. If you read the New Living Translation, it says, guard your heart jealously, for it determines the course of your life. Guard your heart jealously, for it determines the course of your life. So what it in essence means is we need to win the battle of the mind. So once we learn to win the battle of the mind, one of the things that we have done, and one of the things we actually have done successfully, is to be able to go back to the center where everything is processed. That's why I think it's fundamental for us as entrepreneurs, even in this environment, to realize that we need to be able to work and correct our mindset, because the direction of our businesses is connected and is determined by the direction of our thoughts. So we're operating in terms that are not easy at all. You see, 2020 for a long period of time was one of the years which many people were looking forward to. Growing up, I remember there was this talk so much about Vision 2020. Many people really look forward to 2020. Many people even prayed that we can actually be part and parcel of 2020. But 2020 is taking a different direction altogether, where you actually have to stay home in order for you to be alive. So nobody actually anticipated that we're going to be at such a position where we need to be told to stay at home in order to stay alive. So how can we sustain our businesses during such difficult times? That's the question that I want to focus on today. And one of the things that I want you to realize when it comes to business, the very nature of business itself. Business revolves around provision of answers. Business revolves around solving of problems. Business revolves around people, entrepreneurs, thinking about how they can progressively come up with solutions. And once they've come up with those solutions, these entrepreneurs, they get paid. They get paid for the type of solutions. That's why a simple definition of business is simply solving problems at a fee. Solving problems at a fee. So if an entrepreneur, such a moment presents an opportunity for you to manifest your character, your true spirit as an entrepreneur. Why? Because entrepreneurs, they think not out of the box, as if there is no box. Entrepreneurs are people who are not there to think like everyone else. Entrepreneurs challenge the way of thinking. And once they challenge the way of thinking, they go outside the normal norms and they do the extraordinary. So the first thing that I think is fundamental in this conversation is for us to start by working on the mindset, how we think. And number two, for us to activate the spirit of entrepreneurship. You see, one thing about entrepreneurship, and this is an area that I'm so passionate about. There's several definitions of entrepreneurship, of which I've actually given you several definitions. Number one, solving problems for a fee, answering human problems for a fee. But my definition of entrepreneurship is this. Entrepreneurship is the art of taking money from people without people complaining. That's entrepreneurship. It's the art of taking money from people without people complaining. This is the point that I want you to understand. During such a time as this, there are people who are perfecting and improving the art of taking money from people without people complaining right now as we are speaking. So I'll give you, for example, right now we're using Zoom. Zoom is not a very old company. It started a few years ago. And last time they were checking the stats, they were actually saying Zoom is now bigger than the top 7 global airlines combined. with a market capitalization of over $48 billion. And all the big airlines combined, they don't get to Zoom right now as we speak. But how was Zoom able to do that? Because somebody was able to say the future of work is not going to involve direct human confrontation. The future of work is not going to involve people in one room. The future of work is going to be people in various places. And these people in various places, they are going to need to connect. And these very same people, they need efficient and effective ways of communication. And he was able to come up with Zoom. Right now, the bulk of any serious organizations right now, they are actually on this Zoom platform. Why? Because it's a way of thinking. It's an entrepreneurship spirit that was developed. And you see right now, from the indications, there is actually a talk that COVID is also going to spill into 2021. 2021, because this thing is going to be moving from one body to another. So 2021, it simply means many meetings are going to be virtual. Many organizations right now, they're actually telling their employees not to come back to work. Why? Work from wherever you are. But you see, this is where the entrepreneurship spirit comes in, where we need to be on the look, not for the problems, but we need to be on the look for the solutions to the problems and focus on the quality of solutions. So right now, the question you need to ask yourself is, what is troubling many people right now? So many people are struggling. Why? Because business is low. But I'll tell you one thing. What COVID has simply done is to test many business models. That's what COVID has done. COVID has tested many business models where ordinarily, if your model revolved around people coming into a shop, buying, going, you're actually in trouble. But you see, this is the very same environment that is spoken and demonstrated that the future is digital. Why? Because you see, I was reading something on Forbes magazine. I was reading something on Forbes about Bernard Arnault, those guys who read a bit. Bernard Arnault at one point in time this year, it actually crossed the mark as the world's wealthiest man. This gentleman. And Bernard Arnault is the gentleman behind Louis Vuitton, the brand, and the other clothing apparel. But what is it that happened? They're actually saying within a short space of time, in a matter of weeks, he dropped $6 billion. But when I was dropping $6 billion, a certain gentleman called Jeff Bezos actually went back again on top. But understand the difference between these guys. Jeff Bezos is a guy whose business was started in the 1990s on the internet. Now, from books, he has gone into logistics, delivery. Pretty much, he's operating an online store. The future is digital. And this is what we need to help each other. How can we think differently in this environment? So when you're in a tough time like this is the wrong time to complain about life not being fair. This is the right time for you to start thinking creatively in terms of what you need to do differently. Because you see, your breakthrough, your answer is going to lie in terms of understanding that you need to do certain things differently. And once you do that, you are going to start experiencing different results. So whatever your business is, you need to ensure that you incorporate technology. Simple. So I'm a public speaker besides being a lawyer. I've spoken to several audiences. So when COVID hit, one of the things that happened was a number of the live engagements that had been booked in actually canceled. They said, no, we can't meet. We're just waiting for this thing to improve. In Zimbabwe, one of you guys who are in Zimbabwe, you know that was when we were the first lockdown. And many parliamenters were saying, no, we can't. But this is one thing that I've actually realized. The very same thing that I was doing in live audience, I'm now doing it from a digital platform. So I'm still doing those sessions. I'm still doing them online. I'm even speaking now to greater numbers of people. And for the first time, I started doing something that I wasn't doing. I realized that Facebook is actually a very effective tool for me to get to engage people. I've started something called AM Live. Every Monday, we broadcast. We have conversations every Monday. We challenge each other every Monday. We're trying to help people. Why? Because you don't necessarily need to change what you're doing. Simply change how you are doing it. So the thinking has to be right, and we need to arouse and inspire the entrepreneurship spirit in us. And thirdly, I think this is the time, difficult as things are, to actually focus on ensuring that you build stronger relationships with your clients. You see, this time, one of the things that you find is many customers, because they were used to coming into a business, please, can we put our mics on side or on mute, please? So you find many customers were used to coming and meeting you, depending with your business model. But you see, right now, even if you don't have physical interaction with your customers, I think this is the right time for you to actually start thinking in terms of how you can build your relationships, how you can ensure that you have better relationships with your customers. Because you see, one of the things that is so fundamental during a time as this is you can't afford to lose the existing customers. That's the people who have been giving you business. You need to ensure that you connect with your customers, ensure that you talk to them. The customers need to know that you are there somewhere. You see, one of the things people don't understand about customers is that these are the guys who justify your existence. Many people, usually the tendency is just to take people's money. They don't care about it. They hope somehow that these guys are going to be coming back. But I think this is the right time. If you've got WhatsApp numbers, get to send messages. We are just checking on you. We just want to see how you are operating, how you're surviving, how you're managing during this time. Because you see, depending with your model as well, if the customers are the guys who are giving you large businesses, the same weather that you're also experiencing, that's pretty much the same weather that your customers are not experiencing. So one of the things customers need, they need a business that also understands, that also has a human aspect to it. So build the relationships, cement the relationships, write emails, tell them about the new projects, tell them to stay safe. Why? Because you see, that connection element is very critical. People value people who value them. People don't like people who just want to come to them simply because they want money. So I want you to get to a point where you begin to deliberately invest. So I've talked about the importance of the mindset, awakening the entrepreneurial mindset. And the next thing, which is number 3, is also to really consider and reconsider your business model. You see, this is one thing that happens with COVID. Like I've said earlier on, it tests business models. I want you to reconsider and consider your business model. In other words, how sustainable is your current model right now? How sustainable is? So you see, this is the part that I think many organizations are not actually focusing on. And we need to always realize that what brought you here will not always take you there. And what makes a business, guys, what makes a business is not an office building. Neither is it yours. What makes a business is a business model. This is one of the reasons why many people, they tend to look for office when they think they've got a business idea, look for money to buy office furniture. That's not a business. A business is a model. How are you planning on creating and getting value from whatever you're doing? I've given you an example of Zoom, which is right now sitting on a market capitalization of $48.78 billion, when Zoom is just an application. But these guys, they're very strong on their model. So one of the things that we find right now, even Google, it's now popularizing its idea of a Google platform where you can get to also do pretty much this conversation, these virtual meetings. But what I want us to notice that is COVID, for many businesses, it has simply unearthed apparent deaths in business models. In other words, the weaknesses. So what I think many of us will actually need to do right now is to rethink our business model. In other words, are you going to wait for COVID to end? Alternatively, you're actually going to go with the business to the market. So tough times provide an opportunity, according to my view, to reflect and to make hard decisions about what is working and what is not working. But you see, the challenge with many people, we are so stuck to what used to work. So I think for many people, the ideal thing is actually to stop and reflect. So rather than work hard on something that's not working, I think it's actually better for you to reflect look into your business model and start thinking in terms of the changes that you need to take deep down so that you are able to survive. So right now, I think my encouragement to many of us entrepreneurs is to sit down and evaluate our current business model. So as you can see, I'm actually not in the office. I'm working from home right now. But I've handled several transactions right now as we speak. But how have I been able to do that? Because of a model which does not require me to be physically in an office. And the next thing that I need to encourage you in order to keep your business afloat is to make a commitment to do something. Do something. You see, this is the tragedy of many people. When hard times stack, they end up becoming so hopeless, so helpless. But I believe the worst thing that you can ever do during these tough times is to do nothing. If you do nothing, the answer is predictable. Nothing is going to happen. And it's actually as simple and as complicated as that. So what I want us to do is to get to a mode and a level where we begin to take responsibility and start thinking seriously and creatively on how we can actually do. So you see, when COVID started manifesting, many people never entertained the thought that one day we may actually have to deal with it at a national level. I think you might recall when people were saying, COVID, China, COVID, China. But you see, a number of people were just waiting and like, no, let's see what's going to happen until it knocked doors on our neighbor, South Africa, until this thing started coming into Zim, claimed lives. And you see, that's the moment when people began to take this thing seriously and say, no, guys, let's sanitize, let's wear masks. And people started self-quarantining. But the point that I want to make is we can't always be reactionary. We can't always be waiting for things to happen in order for you to start taking action. That's why I believe as business, we also need to learn to anticipate disaster and prepare for it. So you might not be able to predict COVID-19, but when you follow the trends and you realize there's something else happening in a country like China, and guys, with all due respect, even though we're thousands of kilometers away from China, this thing was bound to spread because of how the economy, the global economy is controlled by China. The bulk of these big companies, they're producing their merchandise, their products in China. And definitely the amount of traffic getting in there would obviously mean this thing was going to spread. But as business, I think one of the things we need to do is to learn to anticipate disaster and prepare for it. And once we understand that, I think we also need to be able to follow the global trends. That's why if you want to be in trouble, learn to be reactionary. But if you want to be in control, be anticipatory. In other words, learn to see a problem before it becomes a problem. So what I want us to do is really to take action. And once we take action, we get to minimize the situation, the harm, and also get to shield and protect our businesses. And the next thing that I think is very important is to separate what I call facts from fiction. You see, a number of times, there is an element in society, in business as well, to exaggerate things beyond the way they are. So right now, many people, they are operating basing on fiction, not actual facts. So right now, what you actually need to work on right now is to ask things. What are things as they speak right now? What is the current factual position? Because you see, a number of times, many people were working pretty much on rumors. What people are saying on WhatsApp, you are not focusing really on what is the exact state of your business. What is it that you can do? What is the correct position on the ground? You see, when I'm talking about separating facts from fiction, the point is simple. You need to separate television facts or radio facts and get to establish and understand the facts as for your business. What is the current position? So separate facts from fiction. But I want you to notice one thing as well. Business by its very nature is not supposed to be easy. It's not. If business was easy, many people would be millionaires. But you see, many people are not in business because it's not easy. But it's that very same fact that it's hard that explains why many people are also successful. That explains why many people's lives are going to go places. Why many people's lives are going to take a different trajectory. Why? Because they simply make hard decisions. That's why I want to give you this quote by John F. Kennedy. I don't know how much time I'm left with, but I want this quote to inspire you. If you remember a movie called Hidden Figures, one of my favorite movies, Taraji P. Henson, Actually, these are the ladies. True story about a lady called Catherine G. Johnson. You're going to find this quote. Why? Because this is the height of the Cold War, and there are some black women who are part and parcel of the space program. But I'm not going to go much into that, but I want to focus on this statement said by John F. Kennedy when Russia had already done something. It had sent an artificial satellite into space. They'd sent the first man into space, and there's so much pressure on the American government. Do something. How do we come out second in a two-man race? John F. Kennedy was to challenge the Americans. 12 September 1962, this is what he says. He says, we choose to go to the moon in these decades and to do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. And which is one thing that I want many of us to commit right now to. We need to commit to doing things that are not easy, because as long as you do things that are easy, your life is not going to be different. Your life is going to change the moment you make a commitment to doing what is not easy. So make a commitment to do what is hard. So I've already covered the importance of building effective customer relationships. And I want you to note point number 6, which I think is important as well, is don't wait for business, chase business. You see, many people, they just wait and say, no, people are going to come, people are going to look for you. No, that's not how business works. That's why Abraham Lincoln says, good things come to those who hustle, but those who wait will only get what is left over. So I want you to learn to be a hustler. Go out there. Don't wait for things to happen. Take a positive step. And once you take a positive step, learn to go out and look for business. So right now, what I think, what COVID has actually done, it has presented many people, I think, with time to actually sit down and work. So right now, if your business requires customers, where do you get your customers? Where are your customers? You see, right now, one of the things that I'm telling people, if you've got a social media presence, that's also a wonderful opportunity for you to market yourself. That's why you can't just be on social media to tell people about the color of your t-shirt. You can't be on social media just to tell people, no, I've bought a pair of shoes. Nonsense. Be on social media, use it for it to create more business for you. That's why you need to focus on growing your business development. And once you do that, it's very critical. And the next thing that I think is very important for you to sustain your business now is to choose the quality of your associations very well. Choose your associations well. Because if you don't choose your associations very well, what's going to happen effectively is you're going to surround yourself with people of fear. People are going to inspire more and more fear. And instead of thinking solutions, eventually you're going to find yourself being filled by fear and you're not able to do anything. So choose people who bring healthy and better conversations. Why? Because these are the people that you have to bring out the best and not the worst out of you. Then I want to round off with this last point, which is try something different. You see, if you've been doing something for a long period of time and it has not been working, I think the secret is actually to try something different. So I believe sometimes they actually present an opportunity for you to see what works and what doesn't work. But the tragedy for many people is to hold on and even work hard on what used to work. This is the problem. So instead of us holding on to something new, many people would rather hold on to what used to work. So my advice to you, number 1, don't be afraid of change. Number 2, try something new. And the challenge with many businesses, there's a usual resistance for change in many businesses simply because we want or face with an opportunity to change what used to make sense for a long period of time, and we don't think it works. So what I want us to do is to pretty much embrace something new. There's a quote that I want to give you by a gentleman called Machiavelli. He says something, whoever desires constant success must constantly adjust to the changes in the environment. Whoever desires constant success must constantly adjust to the changes in the environment. And the truth and the tragedy about life and business is that you have to change with change or you will die. So my advice is, number 1, you need to change to change. Number 2, change with change. Number 3, change for change. And one thing that you notice about change is you can't afford to be stagnant in an environment that is changing. If you want to see change, you need to change. Let me close by a quote by a gentleman called Robert Quick. He says one of the keys to successful leadership, one of the keys to successful leadership is continuous personal change. And personal change is a reflection of our inner growth and empowerment. So don't be afraid to change, because your survival, the survival of your business is connected to change. Gentlemen, it's been a great pleasure speaking to you. I hope you managed to learn one or two things. So back to you, Mkoma Kudzi. I'll be very happy to respond and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Advocate Arthur Marara, for such a wonderful presentation. I understand people have quite a number of questions, but let me just summarize key takeaways that you have elaborated and managed to demystify in your presentation. That was an insightful presentation. The first one is, don't change what you do, but change the way you do it. That was very powerful. Tough times provide an opportunity to reflect on yourself and on your business. That was a very powerful and insightful point there, Advocate. Evaluate your current business models and test them whether they are still relevant in this current environment. Because if you don't do that, you are left behind and you'll be defunct and obsolete. That was powerful. And don't be afraid to change. You should always try something new, and change to change, change with change, and change for change. That's a summation of the learned advocate's presentation. Thank you so much for this one. We will continuously have you around, and you will be our house brand at Transformational Mindset Institute. I'm opening the floor now for, I'm opening for 10 minutes, taking questions before we usher in our next speaker. So I'm opening for questions. You can probably, and most, I think this is the way that we have to go by, put your questions in the chat box so that I read them out to prevent kuitasema puti as we ask questions. Let's just put our questions in chat box, or if you have got a question, just unmute and ask it to Advocate Arthur so that he can respond to it. We are taking five questions.
Can we raise our hands, I guess?
Yes, yeah, that's pretty well. That's pretty well.
Okay, perfect.
Johnson, fire your question to Advocate.
It's not a question. Thank you so much, Mr. Arthur Marara. I've listened to you when you were on Star FM, I remember. It's some great stuff. Thank you so much. You inspire us.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the compliment, Johnson. Anyone else? We can lift our hands if we've got a question, or throw the questions in the chat room or in the chat box there. If we don't have questions, it means you have done a very good job, Advocate there. And thank you so much once more. Let me at this juncture call upon George, the billionaire Munengwa, for his presentation. Let me just call upon Mr. Munengwa to share his presentation as our next speaker. George, you can introduce yourself as you get into the fore. I'm handing over the mic to you now, George.
Okay, very good afternoon to everybody. I don't know if everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Are we all good?
Yes.
Okay, great. I want to first and foremost appreciate my big brother, Arthur Marara, for really, downloading some nuggets to everybody who was on this Zoom meeting. So Arthur, salute you. I always learn from you. And one of the most important things for everybody who is here, you constantly need to keep learning. And the more you learn, the more you guaranteed will be able to earn. So Arthur, thank you so much for those amazing nuggets. I was taking some notes as well, and I'm seeing how I can actually adapt some of those things and apply them in my business. A very good afternoon to everybody. I hope we're going to be people who are not only going to be hearers of what we're learning, but we're actually going to apply these things so that we can become successful entrepreneurs, successful individuals in the things that we want to accomplish. Also, thank you to this amazing institution for allowing us as entrepreneurs and through our relationships, which is something that is very important in business. We are able to share and help each other grow. So today I'm going to be talking about strategies to connect your business with the market. And I'm one person who has used a couple of the strategies that I'm going to tell you today. But the most important thing as an individual is to be able to have great relations. You have to be somebody who is very good with your relations. And without your relations and as a business person, you're not going to be able to do very much. So relationships are so important. You have to have very strong relationships. And the most important thing in business, you'll find I only do business with people that I have a good relationship. And in this time where you want to connect with businesses, I love what my brother was talking about. Relationships are key. I want you to think of yourself as a customer right now. If you look at a product or service that you need, what is it that you need from the company for you in order for you to do business with them? So I'm going to start off with this. These are the 4 most important customer desires as we go into, the strategies. I want you to understand the 4 most important customer desires. Number 1, every customer wants empathy. Every customer wants to be, appreciated. You have to be able as a company to know your customers better than themselves. So always put yourself in a situation where you actually take a step back and wonder, what do my customers need, especially during this COVID time? A lot of people are scared. A lot of people do not know where to get the product. What can you offer to these people? Number 1 is empathy. Number 2 is responsiveness. Remember, these are the 4 most important customer desires. Responsiveness. I was looking for a product and service this very last week, and on Facebook, somebody had posted something. I posted 5 minutes later, they called me. Everybody wants a company which is responsive. You need to be able to quickly respond to your customers if you're going to have customers for a lifetime. Number 3, reliability or dependability. People want to deal with a business or a person who is dependable, who is reliable, who does exactly what he says. He delivers whatever comes out of his mouth, whether it's a product or service, is exactly what he delivers. And number 4, credibility. Everybody wants to deal with somebody who is an expert and credible. Now, in order for us to be successful entrepreneurs and business people, we need to remain these very most important things: empathy, responsiveness, reliability, and credibility. These 4 things, if ever you want to have customers who will always sneeze on other people and refer so many people to you, always remember these 4 important things. So as we go ahead, I've got a 5-point plan that I want to present to you today about being, strategies that will help your business in this current market. I've used very loud. I use, my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, my YouTube to be able to express what it is that I do. How you can actually find me and locate me. I don't know if you are somebody who is in business and you don't have social media presence. I don't think that's going to do you very good, especially in a time like this, where majority of people are spending their time on their gadgets and on their phones. If you're watching this video right now, I want you to go, and you may not understand how LinkedIn works, but I can guarantee you LinkedIn is one of the most important, especially for entrepreneurs. You have to be part of LinkedIn because LinkedIn is full of people who are business minded like you. You need to hang around with similar minded people, and you'll be so amazed how you will connect with people. So have and be a part of all these platforms. Social media is the new way of doing business. Look at us today. We are on this platform talking. We are so many miles apart, but we're communicating. So the message you're putting on your profile, on your WhatsApp status, it has to communicate the 4 things that I spoke about. And the strategies that I'm going to talk about today. Number 1, for you to connect with your business market, the most important thing, you have to care about your customers. You have to care about your customers. You have to so much be, caring of your customers and actually understand what it is your customers want to, sorry, 1 second there. Right. Okay, you have to care about your customers. There's nothing more important in this day and age than caring about your customers. A lot of people are only money centric. They want to just do business just to get the money and that. But you have to care about your customers. This is a very important strategy. I like what my brother was talking about earlier on. You have to be a person who goes back and looks at all the people that you transacted business with and actually find out how they are, how they're coping, how's their business going. Be concerned about them. This goes back to the first point, empathy. Be concerned about your customers. Find out how they're keeping. Emails are good, but a phone call. The people who have given you business before are the ones that continue to support you and sneeze on other people if you care about them. If you're going to be somebody who's only caring about your own personal business, I don't think your business will grow big, but you have to be concerned about other people who have supported you. They will know that during the COVID time, you called and checked up on them. That's the most important thing. Once you care about people, you're expressing that it's just not a business transaction, but we actually have a relationship. So if you do that to your most important customers, this is an amazing strategy because everybody wants to be cared about. Everybody wants to know that, wow, somebody else is thinking about me and actually concerned about my well-being. And guess what? This is what will cause people to actually remember you when the things get tough. Number 2, right now, understand and know what do your customers want. Your customers want. Your customers, what do they currently want right now? Your customers are wanting a product and service. Your customers are wanting convenience. Your customers are wanting things to be provided to them, in a way which is far more easier than before. So if you know what your customers want, why don't you go the extra mile to deliver? There's so many businesses that I've seen currently, there's direct delivery. What do your customers want? Your customers want to eat. You have to be able to go the extra mile. For us, I'm in the air conditioning industry. A lot of people have been wanting to get their air cons installed at their houses. There's so many people who want to get air cons installed. But what are we going to do? We are a company which is saying, listen, here are the results of our workers, right? We want you to be very happy with every single thing that is going on and know that our workers have been tested for COVID and they can come into your house and you can be safe. Because people right now, believe it or not, they are very, very worried about what's going on. So you have to be able to go the extra mile to say, hi, these are the employees coming to install your aircons. They've been tested. So that a customer has a peace of mind. So whatever industry you're in and you're providing a service, make sure that your clients are actually very happy with the products and services that you are offering. I don't know if this is still online. And can somebody just talk to me and give me a heads up? I don't want to be talking to myself.
Yeah.
Is this still recording? Are we going?
Yes. Yeah. No. You are fine, George. It's fantastic.
Okay, great. Okay. So know what your customers want and do that extra thing. For us, we've done that, and it gives customers a peace of mind because we install air cons in people's homes and offices. So when we present that, it gives them a peace of mind. So know what your customers want and package it in a way that brings your clients a peace of mind. Number 3, one of the most important things as a company right now, as a strategy to make you different from all your competition. If you do what all your other competitors are doing, you're not going to get any different results. You're going to get the exact same results. But if you're going to take this COVID era and actually say to yourself, okay, as a marketing strategy, what can we do to remain top of mind, aware of everything that's going on? I like what a brother of mine, Nash Paints, Tinashe Mtalis, is doing with Nash TV. He's made sure that the whole country and the whole world can tune in, and now they are benefiting from, you know, watching entertainment on Nash TV. And guess what? This gives them a platform to advertise. So you're going to be watching this show for an hour, 2 hours, and they are basically embedding that if you want paint, if you want furniture, if you want your wall, if you want, all companies are coming onto this platform to actually advertise. And that is an amazing strategy, because guess what? TV is no longer one of the most, you know, high return of investments in terms of advertising. But using social media platforms, using creative content of, you know, doing all these shows that you've been seeing, is an amazing strategy that will make you be relevant. So look at your business, look at what you're doing. You know, one thing that we've done as we've said we need to engage social, you know, influencers to speak about our brand or to do a skit, you know, pertaining to the COVID times, to then sell our products or services. Because one thing that as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, if you do not act during this time, if you don't do something creative, people are going to forget about you because people are concerned about what's currently happening. So tailor make your things to, you know, adapt with the COVID times. Tailor make your things that also make it relatable. Don't just post the same flyer. I do air conditioning. We're selling it at $500. We're doing this. People don't want to see that. People want informative discussions. If you're able to engage your customers in knowing that, wow, you know what, I learned something on the Pro Air page today. I learned something from this. I didn't know that, you know, not wearing your mask and this, that, and the other. That way, it brings audience to your page, where your page or your profile is just not talking about selling. It's also meant to engage your customers in a different way as an amazing strategy to put you above the rest. One thing personally that I have seen that works and that has put us on the map, you know, during this whole COVID era, I'm going to speak about our story here. We have been busy because we have been able to constantly be in communication daily. We inform people on the benefits of air conditioning. We inform people on, you know, what to do, how to use the air cons, and so much more. Your page shouldn't just be about selling. It should be informative, educational, and also teaching people and letting people know the different aspects. You know, right now, there's so many ways to sell your product or service in a not usual manner. You know, there's so many comedians, socialites, celebrities who have a voice. And if you use influencers to market and bring awareness to your product, I can guarantee you, you definitely will be able to do so much more than you're currently doing today. And last and not least, the last point, you know, and this is one of the most important things as a strategy. Right now, a lot of people are not operating from the office, but the thing that differentiates companies that make it and who don't make it. So many people right now on this platform are at home, but the thing that every customer wants is convenience, and they want it quick. If you order and you want food now and you're hungry, you want that food delivered to your house whilst it's still hot. Let me ask you a question. As a business person, as an entrepreneur, if somebody goes onto your page, how quickly do you respond to people wanting a quotation, a product, or a service? In this time and era, you need to be very quick to respond because people want that quick responsiveness in order to give you the product, to give you the business. If you fail to respond, if you relax, Vajinji right now, Arakumba, they're relaxed. If they're not working, they're watching TV. But you know, have notifications come up that when somebody, you know, inboxes, you quickly call them. What can we do? Go and solve that problem quickly. Because people right now, if you can look for your product or service and you deliver it, I can guarantee you, once that customer is happy, I always say to people, the greatest form of advertising that is better than TV, radio, your social media posting is a happy client. So the greatest strategy to make you remain on top of everybody else is to make sure that one client is happy. When that one client is happy, that they become an ambassador. They will begin to sneeze on all their friends and families and tell them, wow, you know what? I got this product from Pro Air. These guys, I called them 10 minutes later, the guy showed in 2 hours. These guys are amazing. That's the type of service that people want. Everybody wants quick, convenient, professional service. And if you do this, I can guarantee you with whatever business that you are in, if you put yourself back, remember what I said, the most important thing every customer wants, which is going to put you on top of everybody else, empathy. One thing that we do at Pro Air, which makes us remain top of mind awareness, we always, once a customer gives us work, we give them what's called a certificate of appreciation, whether it's a company, and they stick this up on their reception to say, thank you so much for your support. Without you, we wouldn't be here today. This has been done for many years, but guess what? When you care about people, to do a certificate of appreciation, to thank them for it may be a very small little order, but guess what? To them, not a lot of people thank. We know in the Bible about the 10 lepers. All the other 9 didn't thank, but that one will be remembered. And in business, it's the same thing. What you appreciate increases in value. So when you thank your customers for doing business with you, when we get customers who come and re-gas their cars here, the moment they leave the office, we send them a message. Thank you so much for your support. And we send them a little message and this, that. Those small things, it's like giving a customer something for free. It's like giving a customer, right now, we've been doing that with the masks. We've got face masks that we've been giving away to customers. They come here, they get a product or service. We install an aircon at the house. We'll leave 3 or 4 face masks. That's doing something that everybody else is not doing. And guess what that will do? When they are wearing our face mask, wherever they're going, they're advertising us. But we are also showing that we care about them. So the greatest thing that you can do with a strategy that will put you above everybody else is to care about the customer. What would you want a shop to do for you? When you begin to think like that, a business which is going to. So I hope some of those nuggets have helped you wherever you are as an entrepreneur. And I hope, like I always say, and like my brother says, it's one thing to hear what you heard today, but it's another thing to actually apply it. Don't just be hearers, but take notes and put into practice things. The greatest secret of getting ahead is getting started by applying these things, these nuggets. You've heard of social media, you heard about, the 4 most important customer needs and strategies that can help you propel and grow your business to be above all your other competition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my dear brother George Munengo. I have been at Pro Air. I just took time to just visit this man's place, and the customer service and the level of networking is amazing. Thank you so much, George. You really did a very good job there. It's a wonderful presentation. It has been insightful. I understand quite a number of people took a lot of lessons from what you have said, and they are also going to be implementing this. Let me just hear from Tsitsi, who has raised a hand. I'm now inviting questions, comments, and compliments. Tsitsi, you can unmute and share.
Okay, thank you very much. My question is, how do you manage a situation where the product or the services that you are providing to your clients, you are not actually in full control? So maybe sometimes you actually get the product somewhere and then you save your clients. Now, if then it happens that your supplier is no longer that credible, how do you handle such situations? Because you're not in control. At the same time, the product is not coming, the clients want the product. How do you handle such a situation so that you remain credible?
Before
Wow, that's an amazing question.
okay, you can take it, George.
Sure, you wanted to say something, Kuzi? I have read the message.
Okay, I just wanted to take the questions first. All the questions, you write them
no
down,
problem.
so that you respond.
Okay, sure.
You respond to them in just one go. Can
465.
there is a Tendai?
645.
Tendai, your hand is up. Can you just throw your question, Tendai?
Yeah, mine is not a, a question per se, but it's a comment and a compliment. Thanks for the eye-opening discussion. Just to add on what Mr. George Billionaire said about the issue of being on social media. It's not all about going online on all social media platforms. I think as an organization, it has to look for the social media platforms where most of its customers are online, and they use those social media platforms as an online customer service, and then also engage in what is known as the online reputation management, because we have got a situation whereby there are certain organizations that overpromise that they will deliver the product or service to a client, but at the same time, when you go on the actual or the physical visit to that organization, they will really under deliver the product. So the key here is do not overpromise customers. Promise customers what you deliver. If you overpromise and under deliver, it will be like a great disaster for the customer. Then I also want to add on about being on social media. Yeah, being on social media, we are now moving towards using what is known as user-generated content, whereby instead of the brand promoting itself, it should be the customers who should be promoting the brand. That is, those online customer reviews that are posted on your social media, they go a long way in building your brand online community. We see a number of companies, they do delete negative reviews on their social media pages. It has got a negative impact on your social proof or your social validity. Rather than deleting the comment, you should show proof to other customers where the service has gone wrong. How have you tried to help the customer in order to correct what has went wrong? So deleting comments or negative reviews on your social media pages, it's a no thing in terms of good principles of online reputation management. Then lastly, I want also to comment about the social, about the customer. Yeah, the customer nowadays is the heart of operations. It is the one that drives all your business activities. So everyone in every organization, every employee of your organization should be able to manage all the customer touch points. It is there is a misconception whereby the management as well as the customer relationship management facilities only left in the hands of the marketing and sales department. Yet it is not the only sole responsibility of the marketing and sales department. The marketing and the sales department only acts as the lubricant of your organization, but every employee from the security guard up to the CEO, I think they should have some customer service skill that will help serve the customer with great service delivery. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tendai. Let me take Greta there. After Greta, I think Greta is the last person to weigh in. Greta, your hand is up. Greta, I think she
okay,
has.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for the presentation. I got a lot of nuggets. Yes, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Greta, proceed. Greta, you can proceed. Okay, you can Billy, you can weigh in. Billy.
Okay, thank you very much, Tim. I believe customer service is the single most important message that service organizations must commit to. Like what the previous speaker said, that starting from the security guards up to the CEO is the responsibility of of everyone to serve the clients with all their heart. It should be a mantra and imprinted on their hearts. But like what he said, I also go back to differ. Like what he said, that you don't need to delete the negative messages which the clients are sending on your social media platforms. I think it's also good to delete them. Maybe we don't know what happened to these people, maybe to the employee and the client, and yet you are still leaving that negative, comment on our social media platform. It's not proper. When you are able to delete it, let us delete it in that regard, because there's no way of keeping negative things. Imagine yourself, maybe you're always talking about bad things you once experienced. It means it seems as if like you still need those things. So the best way to come up with the best strategy to delete negative things, but let us not end there. Let us now come up with the strategies that enables our employees to be well versed, to be well trained in customer service, customer experience, customer relationship management, so that these problems will not come to our organization. So I think that's my contribution when it comes to customer service.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mudzana. Let me allow George Munengwa to just summarize the response as he speaks into all the issues that we have raised. George, I'm handing over the mic to you, George. George, the floor is yours.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great, okay. Thank you so much for all your input and those amazing questions. And you know, one thing about this platform, I like, we're all learning from each other. So you're actually seeing that some of the questions are actually some great points, which is what I think is the most important thing about this platform. Everybody has a voice and we're all learning from each other. I just want to address the issue of the credible supplier. You know, in business, a good name is better than anything else. And if you want to be in business for long, make sure that what you tell the customer is what you do. So once you find that your supplier is not consistent, is not credible, is not doing what you want, I wouldn't advise you to continue using a product or supplying. Otherwise, it will tarnish your name. Remember, the customers know you and not your supplier. So you are the face that the people know. So once you start doing a bad thing, I can only imagine if we are to deliver, because we're in air conditioning, if we deliver in aircon, which then does not work for a week, you know, you can only imagine the amount of damage that will do to the name that we've been building over so many years. So once your supplier is not credible, there's so many suppliers out there which you can use, Madam who asked me the very first question. So it's important that you always have a credible supplier, or if there's faults, if there's comebacks, they can always assist you with that. So always have good backup support for your products or services, and have a reliable, credible supplier. Don't try and shortchange. Otherwise, the moment you do one thing, remember, bad news travels faster than good news. So you may have been doing a good job all this time, but because now you want to get something of less standard, it will mess your name up. So I hope that answers you, my sister. In regards to social media reviews, it's so important, and we always encourage people who do work for, to give us their reviews, and some of them do, some of them don't. You know, for some of you who follow Pro Air, if you go, you'll see some of our reviews are actually video reviews for people who we gas cars for, some who install aircons for, who allow us to use that for social media presence. And that also just adds confidence. You know, like I was saying earlier on, if you do what other people aren't doing, if you know that I installed an aircon for Kudzai Vere, that will actually increase your confidence in Pro Air. If Kudzai did allowed Pro Air to install, that gives confidence. So, you know, to everybody out there, social media is important, but also find so many other ways to get reviews from people. And yeah, I think basically that's about the summary of the questions that were asked, and that's that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, George, for the response. Any other question? Greta has a compliment and not a question. Greta is saying, I still remember when I was young, we used to ask our mom to take us to a certain doctor because he would give us marshmallows after sold through small tokens, make the customer come back. No, she's complimenting the small tokens that you spoke about, the face masks, the key holders that are branded your name. The other thing that George managed to do is branding. Everything of his is branded. I've written an article commenting his level of branding is so much, and he's so much particular with the branding and the presentation to customers. Thank you so much, George. I don't think there is anyone else who has a question up. Who has a hand up, I see. So this has been a fantastic session to me. We are doing these every Wednesday from 1300 hours to 1500 hours. Next week, we'll be having a fair from the United Kingdom sharing with us. I understand we had planned that we will end the meeting at 1500 hours. We were just on time. This is 1420. Thank you so much, presenters, for compacting your material so that we free our attendees time for other things. I'm sharing with you here our numbers so that you can text us TMI. Just text TMI so that we add you to our WhatsApp group for notifications. We are going to be having this session uploaded to our YouTube channel so that you can access it and download it and save it for future references to these powerful conversations. Can anyone from the group give us, who is free to give us some closing remarks? Just an overall comment on the presentations that we have just had. Show that by raising your hand. If you can give us a closing remark, just summing. Okay, Tsitsi, your hand is up. You can speak.
Thank you all the same, but I think it was when I wanted to ask the question. But all the same, I think there were very, very great insights from Mr. Marara and the billionaire, whatever. Thank you so much. I think these are kind of practical things that we can actually do. But I think as a platform, I think there's then need maybe for some follow-up, with some of us to really see how then can we really customize the information that we have been given to our individual businesses that we are doing. I think that would be that for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cici. That is the reason why we are asking all the participants to just WhatsApp TMI to our admin so that we add you onto our group, and we will definitely make some follow-ups as to whether we have challenges or questions, other afterthoughts that might come after this presentation, so that we become one family as people who want to pursue entrepreneurship to some higher levels. Otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for coming through. We are having another one next week, like I've said. People are continuously posting in the chat room. Let me just check whether there are questions or conversation. Aaron Perekwe is saying, thank you so much for such enlightful conversations, and thank you for creating this platform. Thank you, Aaron. Aaron is in South Africa. Thank you so much, Aaron. To everyone who have attended this session, I want to extend my sincere gratitude to you all for being part of us today, and the time that we have spent learning, insights, sharing. The platform is actually open for experts and practitioners to actually share their experiences, and we are open and free to learn from everyone with regard to areas that would have flighted. So you can also text your profile and your topic to the number on the screen in the event that you also want to be a presenter next time. Thank you so much, Tsitsi, for the closing remarks. And